Hello, good day folks, it's Usman from Bards and Books, and today I got actually a bit of a serious message here, an announcement actually, so I'm going to take that off. As some of you may have known by now, I'm going to be doing a buddy read of Malazan, Book of the Fallen, with a few other booktubers, Robert from Punk Rock Cereal Bowl, Colin from Colin's Corner, and Christopher Navo from the next chapter. So we sat down the other day, we had a bit of a serious talk, and I regret to inform you all that we will not be buddy reading Malazan Book of the Fallen. There is another series that has been anticipated for us much longer than that one. So like I said, we had a bit of a serious discussion, and we came to the conclusion that, well, them mostly wanted to do another buddy read of a highly anticipated series, their words. And that is the Fairy Unicorn series, ladies and gentlemen. That's the truth of it. Colin told me himself that this has been on his TBR for well over a year, so he's really wanted to get to it. And I mean, it makes sense. He's wanted to read it longer than Malazan, and you know, we had to get to it. Christopher Navo actually told me, and I quote, "The evil pony unicorn Shadow is anticipated to be one of my top 3 villains of all time." That's Christopher Navo said that. So, I mean, you can't pass up an opportunity for that, folks. Like, to have a top 3 villain of all time, that's a series you need to get to if you're anticipating that. Robert from Punk Rock Cereal Bowl told me that he's loved fairies and unicorns since he was a wee lad. He actually sent me a picture of him dressed as a unicorn that he used to do when he was a kid, although he looks a fair bit older in that picture, to be honest. This is something that he loves. I mean, this is him, folks. This is a picture of him. This is totally not something I just randomly found on the internet. This is him, I swear. So when you have 3 awesome dudes like that telling you stories like this about a series, you can't help but go along and kind of support their urge to get to a series like this. So that is the series I will be reading with them in July, not Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's going to be Fairy Unicorns. It's confirmed. Now, I would be lying if I told you that was the end of it. To be honest, we had Nala from Here There Be Stories, Caleb from Celebrity, and Nate from Books with Nate. All 3 of them reached out to us and told them that they want to jump on this buddy read ASAP. So they're going to be joining us. They told, all 3 of them mentioned that they ordered the entire series in hardback with the sprayed edges, folks. I mean, they're dedicated. What can I say, right? But not only was it sprayed edges, it was the deluxe edition rainbow sprayed edges, folks. These 3 are really into it. What can I say? When you got people this excited, I mean, it has to be done. This is a series that needs to be read. And then on top of that, we had Dan from the Black and Blue Collar Reader reach out to us when they heard that we were buddy reading this series. Turns out he is a veteran of this series, folks. He has read it multiple times. It amazed me. I'm sure it amazes you too. But he knows all the ins and outs, all the crazy plot twists, the big reveals. Dan has been there for all of that multiple times, and I told him not to spoil anything for us. Dan, please don't spoil anything for us. Like, we're excited. We're excited to go on these adventures with these fairy unicorns and Zoe, the little girl that accompanies them. So it's cool that you got to it already, Dan, but just spoiler free for us, please. And yeah, it really is crazy, folks, but this series seems to be getting a lot of traction. I don't know how this came up. It's really just out of the blue. Like, so many people are talking about this series now. It's weird. It's weird. But fairy unicorns, folks, that's what we're doing. I also had Carlos and Yolanda reach out to us from StoryTube. They reached out to us and told us they are so excited for this as well that they will be doing a month of fairy unicorns. The month of fairy unicorns, folks. To gain such a coveted spot in the whole month of series from StoryTube is a big achievement, and I'm excited to see how big this series gets. It's pretty wild. So that's it, folks. They pretty much collectively agreed that this is the series that they want to get to over Malazan, and majority rules. So that's what we're doing, folks. I hope you're excited. And honestly, folks, I just may have dragged that out a bit too long. I'm sorry. So the books I read in June, this was 5 books, and For the most part, pretty stellar month. The first book I read was Renia by Carl Forshaw. This is book 1 in the Luna Ruinum series, and I absolutely fell in love with this book. It was an easy 5 stars for me. What we have here is basically a darker fantasy story with a lot of mystery elements, and we are following a character named Renia, who is, first of all, has a very tragic upbringing, but she somehow finds herself as a scribe in this very prestigious sort of library called the Halls of Ven, and that's where she works, and things just quickly spiral out of control, and some very, very intriguing things happen. I think what Forshaw has crafted here, well, he's crafted it very meticulously, but it has come through so beautifully in his prose, his world building, his character work, everything. Everything about this book was phenomenal for me. You will easily fall in love with the characters and all the different aspects of the world. It's funny because in this book we've barely just dipped our feet into this entire world, and it's already so captivating and intriguing. So I know that in the following books we're going to explore the world a lot more, and I'm just so hyped for that. But it's very easy to tell that Forshaw has taken his time crafting all this, and it's done so wonderfully here. I can't recommend this book enough. Like, it is so underrated. I don't know how it only has the little amount of reviews that it has. It's crazy. Forshaw does really well to give you bits of information here and there, so you have to be paying attention. He doesn't force feed anything, and you sort of have to put things together yourself, but it's never too much, it's never too daunting, it's just the right amount. And again, I can't sing the praises for this book enough. You need to read Renia. It is so good. I highly, highly recommend. Now, the next book I read was All the Dark Souls by, I believe her name is A.M. Dunawin, the author. And this is a review copy I picked up from NetGalley. I thought it sounded interesting. It's supposed to be a dark kind of fantasy story, but the premise sounded really cool. It's basically, we're basically following a female executioner, which, I mean, we don't really get a lot of executioners' POVs in the stories we read, let alone a female one, so that's really cool. I think the pacing in this book was really good, the concept was really cool, but I gave it a 2.5 stars, rounded up to a 3 stars, so it's basically in the 2.5 to 3 star range. The writing I had issues with. I found it very clunky, very overwritten at times. The pacing was good throughout the story, but the writing just kind of irked me. I find that she doesn't really trust the reader with a lot of information. She repeats herself, she kind of over-explains things. I honestly think this could have done with a lot more editing. I mean, I'm not an editor, I'm not like, a professional in that sense, but I think it probably could have done with some more editing. I mean, at times the author was stating, like, just blatantly that, this is a common practice among strangers. It's like, yeah, we know that. And she'd say things like, oh, this is a metaphor for this. She just straight up tell you, this is a metaphor for this, and you're just like, yes, it's obvious. So yeah, the writing was a bit of a detriment to it, but again, the story was really great, following this female executioner and this kind of slice of life story that we got. The other big part of the story was the romance in this one, and I just found the romance to be very tedious. I mean, there's a lot of internalizing of these characters. They just think things in their head, and she kind of over explains it, like they're thinking all these things within themselves and over explaining it. So that's just kind of frustrating. Those were the issues I had with this book. I mean, I've heard people really enjoy them, but I don't see myself continuing this series, even though, I mean, it wrapped up very nicely despite the cliffhanger. It was decent, I guess. And I don't find myself making book 2 a priority. The third book I wrapped up was A Memory of Light by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. Yes, the finale of The Wheel of Time. This was pretty surreal. This book was much different from all the previous books. The pacing, I mean, out of all the Wheel of Time books, I gave this one 4.5 stars. I thought it wasn't perfect, but I think Sanderson just did a marvelous job wrapping up everything up, all the different plot threads and the characters and stuff. So yeah, marvelous job there. It wasn't perfect. It was, some of the stuff was a little too contrived, I felt, here and there. And the tensions were really high in this one. I mean, there's a lot of battles, so it was basically, yeah, just all battles in this one, just really gripping battles. And the plot twists, the reveals were just crazy, like mind-blowing. I mean, at this point, they should be, right? And they were. I do have a full review, which I filmed and will be coming out with shortly, so you can hear all my spoilery thoughts there. Now, book 4, and this is one that I'm currently reading, so I'm not even halfway yet, so I can't really give thoughts on it, but that is Dragon Wing, which is book 1 in the Deathgate cycle by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Again, I can't say too much because I'm still reading it, but I just continue to be amazed at these worlds that Weiss and Hickman craft. They're very, very unique and very intriguing. Like they do a great job, and I can see why they've gained the popularity that they have. The plots that they conceive, the character work, it's all very, very well done for the style that it's written in, if that makes sense. I mean, they're very like D&D heavy, a lot of their books, like Dragonlance, and I've read Dark Sword. That was very unique as well. But they do a great job, and they really excel in the whole world building aspect of it. These are very unique worlds with cool kind of concepts, I guess. So I'm enjoying it so far, and we'll see how I end up enjoying the series as a whole. And the final book that I am hoping to squeeze in by the end of the month, if not, it'll carry over into July. That is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. And this is a darker fantasy series from what I've heard. I picked this up on a whim. I mean, the cover looked cool, and the premise sounded really intriguing. I'll read it to you here. For every realm, there is a god. For every god, there is an heir. For every heir, there is a price. So, the 4 realms, life, death, light, and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk. But the gods have withdrawn their favor from the once thriving and vibrant metropolis. And without it, all the realms are dying. Unwilling to stand by and watch the destruction of the 4 heirs to divine power, Angelica, an elementalist with her eyes set on the throne, Risha, a necromancer fighting to keep the peace, Nicholas, a soldier who struggles to see the light, and Tasia, a shadow-wielding rogue with a reckless heart, will become reluctant allies in the quest to save their city, but the rebellion will cost them dearly. So this is book 1 in the Dark Gods trilogy. I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy. But that just sounds epic. That sounds awesome. I'm here for it, and I'm really looking forward to that one. I will have a full review coming out for this, and that is because I was approved for the arc of the second book in this series, which is the Midnight Kingdom. So I'll be doing a review for that inevitably. So yeah, I thought I'd put that out there, and we'll see how this series holds up. But that is it for June. Those are all the books that I have read and will be reading in June. Now let's get to July. Gardens of the Moon, book 1 in Malazan, Book of the Fallen. This is a buddy read I'm doing with Colin from Colin's Corner, Robert from Punk Rock Cereal Bowl, Chris from Christopher Navo, the next chapter, and Caleb from Calebrity. Now, from what everyone says, I'm expecting to be very confused throughout, but I'll be here for it. I think I'll enjoy it. I assume I will. And I'm glad I'm finally getting to it. I'm excited to buddy read this with them and share our thoughts, and we'll see how it goes. The next book is Daughter of the Empire. This is part of the Empire trilogy by Raymond E. Feist and Janny Wirtz. Now, I'm really, really looking forward to this one because, first of all, we are doing a buddy read. Alan from the Library of Alexandria is hosting a read-along on his channel, so that's going to be really fun sharing our thoughts there. As well as the Rift War saga, the Rift War series by Raymond E. Feist, is the series that really got me into fantasy. It's my foray into epic fantasy. So that is one that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I've heard that this trilogy is amazing. A lot of rave reviews I've heard about this, so I'm really excited to dive into it. I know it deals with the Surani in the Rift, the other world. So there's a lot of politicking in it, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book for July will be Elven Star, Book 2 in the Deathgate cycle. So I'm reading Book 1 right now, Dragon Wing, enjoying it so far. I know that all the books in this series kind of follow different settings, like elemental settings. So the first one is air, I believe. Second one, Elven Star, is water, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I've heard great things about the series. I have all 7 books. I'll be reading them consecutively each month. So this is just a continuation. We'll see how I enjoy it, if I enjoy it, if I even enjoy the first one and plan on reading the second one. I don't know. But right now it is listed as the 3rd book I will be reading for July. And the next book that I'll be reading in July is Becoming a Druid by Mike Molman. This is a self-published work, one that I've been hearing a lot about recently. And depending on whether I have time, I might get to the next book in that one as well, which is Sins and Sorrows. We'll see. But I don't know much in regards to the plot of this book. All I know is it has a druid, and I love druids, so I'm all here for it. There is a read-along happening for this one in July at the Wizardly Duo Discord with a bunch of cool people, so I'm looking forward to sharing our thoughts on this. And like I said, it has druids, that's all I need, so I'll be looking forward to it. But that's it for July. Those are the books that I plan to get to for sure, and we'll see depending on whether I have time, if I can get to other ones. Probably not, but that's it. That's my June wrap-up and my July TBR. Let me know what you think of these books. Let me know if you've read them, your thoughts. And this is going to be a stacked month for me. A lot of buddy reads, and it's only going to get more hectic as the months go by. I got a lot more planned, a lot more daunting stuff, only because of the fact that it's all happening at once. So, these are all books that I'm really looking forward to getting to, but the fact that they're all happening at once is gonna be a little nerve-wracking. But, I'm gonna buckle up and really focus. So we'll see how it goes. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Peace out.